project I was hoping I'd get you to talk about, because one of my favorite projects that you did was the rainbow gun project.
Oh my god.
I know, I'm like digging up I did this with Hillary too. So Hillary is a good friend of ours, and Hillary was on the stream last week, if you guys saw on Instagram Live, and I dug into Hillary's past as well, so don't feel attacked.
No, I knew this was what I was in for. Okay. No. Yeah.
Nice. That's amazing.
I'm actually really proud of that. I'm never not proud of a throwaway. Okay. Yeah. So you wanted to know about the rainbow gun. So the rainbow gun was a project where I was really involved with the local Burning Man community. And what I cared about was multicolor, because I got really good at fire right away. I've always had a real knack for things burning around me. It's definitely led to many things in my career. But what I wanted to be able to do was turn on green, red, and blue fire whenever I wanted. And so I was working on an array of nozzles that would inject metal salts into a propane stream, so that when you were concentrating or you flipped the right buttons, you could just be like, and what I really wanted to do was make it generic enough that you could just fit it to any propane flame, and that was a mistake. So I really loved doing that. I really loved working on it. I actually got a working version of it working. I used fuel injectors. It was a bad idea. They rotted immediately, because one of the properties of physics is that metal salts eat things. All things.
And like, just to take a step back,
yeah,
there's several layers here. So the makerspace we were involved in was heavily involved in flame effects, because I think some residue of Burning Man in the Toronto film industry.
Oh yeah, so when we founded the place, it was during the recession, and so the reason we founded it the way that we did was because it was a very bad time and there was no money for anything anywhere, and also everybody in the film industry was on strike. So when we did it, we got every prop master and costume person in the city into the Makerspace right away. We still have some props left over from one of the Cronenberg pieces. It's a giant rat head.
And some very realistic hand molds that people like to place on machines.
So all the horror movie guys were part of our shop, which led to very effective safety signs. We just leave a disembodied hand hanging off a saw, and then people wouldn't mess up on the saws. While I was running it, we actually had almost no accidents, which is wild, because we had a welding suite and every kind of saw and drill and everything. And every accident we had was the direct result of somebody hitting gunpowder with a hammer while they were drunk. It was never an actual accident.
It was never misuse of machines. It was misuse of people and alcohol.
Yeah, it was the predictable outcome of what would happen if you had a lot of drunk 20-somethings who didn't really know what they were doing in a small space. And that was fun. It was a really fun time. I personally loved being under 30, even if there was no money and no employment.
Definitely a hoot.
Yeah, it was a real bop. I'm kind of glad that time is done now. I feel like, you've done your 20s, right? When you just never want to go back. Sorry, I dropped something.
And then you've somehow gone from running this punk makerspace doing flame effect in the Burning Man community to professor at big American university, which is a bigger deal in Canada because we don't have universities the size of small cities.
I think in Canada's education system, we don't really support academia, the industry. It's not a thing. You can be a Canadian professor, and all of us are part of this now, but it's just not, there's no 5-line football team. Man, I can't get onto that or I'll never get off the topic. So how did I transition from making human teeth sculptures into being an academic? So I kind of always cared about cultural studies. I did my undergrad in it in Hamilton, Ontario, which is not where you want to be studying French post-structuralism. It's not a place for that.
It's like a town outside Toronto.
Yeah, a steel mill town. It's the Rust Belt. Like if Bruce Springsteen ever went north of the border, that's where he'd go, and he'd be like, "It is just as depressing as New Jersey." When you look over the ocean, not the ocean, the giant lake from Toronto, you can sometimes see the gas flares going up from the refinery and the steel mill. It's not
charming.
It's very
town.
picturesque. Picture. So I studied all this stuff when I was younger, and then I really wanted to teach. Like, that's just what I wanted to do. I love tech, but I wanted to teach. I love talking to people. I like seeing people's eyes light up when they learn something, like the fact that not all rain clouds are angry.